Hi, I'm Bryan Baeumler, and I build houses. Sometimes I even build them on television. And when I do build houses, we use a lot of spruce, pine, and fir. It's what's known as softwood lumber. And right now, softwood lumber is causing a little bit of friction between us Canadians and our friends south of the border. If you're like a lot of people, this issue is probably a little confusing, so I'm going to simplify things. People in the rest of the world think we're pretty much the same as our American cousins, but when it comes to softwood lumber, they couldn't be more wrong. Let's start with where the wood comes from. Imagine one of these 2x4s comes from the United States and the other comes from Canada. There's a good chance that the American board came from a tree grown on private land. That's where most of the timber in the US grows. And private owners like to make a profit, so they charge as much as they can for it. This is called a stumpage rate. This one probably came from a tree on public land in Canada. We have a lot of wood in this country and a lot of unused land, way more than in the United States. So rather than the stumpage fee being based on the going rate like they do in the States, provinces here sign agreements allowing them to cut down trees a little cheaper. American lumber companies say that isn't fair. They call it a subsidy, and Washington agrees. So they've slapped tariffs on softwood lumber coming into their country from Canada. And for Canada, that's a big deal. It means hundreds, maybe even thousands of people in BC and Quebec and other provinces might lose their jobs because companies that used to buy Canadian lumber are going to start shopping elsewhere. So right now you're thinking, wait, didn't we sign trade deals to stop this from happening? Isn't that what NAFTA is all about? And you're right. This is the fourth time Uncle Sam has taken this kind of action in the last 3 decades, and we usually fight them on it. In the early 2000s, things got so heated that Canada took the US to a kind of trade court under the World Trade Organization. And that panel found that Canada doesn't subsidize its softwood lumber. Not enough to make it unfair, anyway. The problem is the Americans just don't accept those decisions. There are a lot of politics involved, but the bottom line is, if they want to tax our wood, there's nothing we can do about it. Not without starting an all-out trade war. That's why Ottawa made a side deal back in 2006. Basically, we started taxing our own wood if it was going to the United States. Well, that deal ended a 1.5 years ago. So now, here we are, right back where we started. It could take years to sort it all out again, and that's good news for a few American timber companies. But for the rest of us, not so much. Canadian workers will lose their jobs. The price of lumber in the United States will go up, which makes houses more expensive to build. Guys like me in the States will have less work to do. It kind of makes you wonder, wouldn't it be best if we just cut it short?